And welcome to the call. Welcome to the call for tonight. Good evening. And if you can hear me, please put the number 1 in the question box. And then I'll know you can hear me. And then we will go ahead and get started. So again, if you can hear me, please put the number 1 in the question box. And then we'll go ahead and get started for this evening. And what we're going to do is start with any of your questions. And then I have a few things I want to cover here from the actual from Funnel Hackers Live. So again, if you can hear me, please put the letter Y in the question box. Okay, so everybody can hear me. Very good. Okay, so what I want to do tonight is I want to answer any questions that you might have about something that you are trying to do. I will cover a few things that I picked up from the conference, and then kind of get into where I'd like to kind of go for the rest of the spring. Before we start the next 30-day challenge, which is going to be coming up again in August. So any questions you might have, feel free to write them right there in the box. Maybe you're trying to do something with your marketing. And okay, so Gary, I can see your chat now. I can see your chat. So yeah, you should be on Webinar. You're on Webinar Fusion Pro, so you're fine. I can see you. So so I can see everyone who's on Webinar Fusion Pro. Okay, so any questions that you might have, any questions at all? I'll start with your questions. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my notebook here, and I'm going to cover a few things from my notes from the conference. And let me just kind of get situated here. And I'm going to grab my notes, actually. Okay, so again, if you have any questions in particular about something that you are trying to cover, please write it right there in the box. Maybe there's something that you're trying to do in your internet marketing business, and if maybe there's something that you're trying to do in particular in with some of the Genius software. I do want to cover a few things if you do not have any questions. And even if I start covering something, I want you to feel free to interrupt me. This is really your call and your time to ask any questions about anything. And again, if I don't know the answer, I will try to find the answer for you. And so one of the things that we have not talked about, at least on my end in particular, that we are going to get into as the year progresses is really understanding paid advertising. And that's whether or not you are doing Facebook ads, whether or not you are doing YouTube ads, whether or not you are doing all the different kinds of Facebook ads, lead ads, and they are almost creating different ad types every day, retargeting. All those are things that you and I as marketers, whether or not we're marketing information, whether or not we're marketing things in particular, we are going to need to know those things. And one of the strategies that you've probably picked up on is the fact that, I mean, how many of you all have seen, whether it's on Facebook or whether or not it's in passing, how many of you all have seen an advertisement for the .com secrets the physical copy of the .com Secrets book. And when you get it, it's actually it's free to you. You just pay shipping. How many of you have seen that? Whether or not you've seen it online, whether or not you've seen it on Facebook, whether or not you've seen it in passing. How many of you have seen that advertising? Maybe some of you all have even taken advantage of this. What I want to do is I want to kind of explain to you the logic of what is being done there, so that you can either start thinking about it, and you can either replicate it in your business, or you can even actually do this with some of your clients. Now, what's really happening here with the free shipping, and if I'm reading, it's because I'm reading from my notebook here, and so I want to kind of explain to you a little bit about what's really happening there with the free press shipping. And the idea is to bring people into a marketing funnel by putting bait in front of them. And what is being done is this is being done across the board in all industries. So in other words, this book is being used as bait for internet marketers. In other words, the information is being shared. Obviously, Russell Brunson has a name that he's working on, and he's saying that, he's going to give away his secrets. And he really does give away everything in that book that is his core methodology, right? But the reason that he's giving it away is so that he can actually bring people into the marketing funnel, and he's spending money. Right. So not only is he giving away the book, but he's actually spending money to target you on Facebook, to target you and I on Facebook. And the idea is not to make money with the book. The idea is not to make money doing anything. The idea is to break even in terms of generating you and I as leads. Right. Well, yeah, Jerry, it's inflated. What he's trying to do is he's trying to basically break even with this, and he's not breaking even with the shipping. What he's doing is, once he gets you actually onto his list, and even before, let's even talk about even before you actually make it to the list, he's actually giving people an offer, right? So when they actually go for the free shipping, he's going to show them an offer on the order panel. So you have the opportunity there when you get the book to actually order some kind of coaching. And they're testing each one of these things, right? You can buy coaching, you can buy an additional, you can buy a webinar script, you can buy something additional, so that when you spend that additional money, right, and it's typically for a digital asset, that helps him actually to break even on the advertising. So in other words, let's say that he's spending $1,000, right, on the advertising in order to reach you. So you click on the ad, you then decide, okay, I want the book, right? So you go for the offer on the book. Well, before you actually order the book, he's showing you another offer. So in other words, along with the book, you can also get this other thing that may cost $17, may cost $27, may cost $37. What the strategy is for him to break even on the advertising costs, so that he has bought you as a lead. And so what he's doing by giving away the book is to give you something that you can't say no to. So in other words, even if the shipping charge is inflated, and let's say that it is, it's hard to say no to getting that book for $6.95. So you get the book for $6.95. He doesn't really care whether or not the ad costs are expensive. He just wants to break even. And so there are steps along the way that will allow him to offer you something else even before that order process is even done. So that when let's say that you decide, okay, I don't want the other offer along with the book. So then once you go through the process, you go through the order process, shipping process, he's going to bring you to a thank you page. That thank you page is going to have another offer, a logical offer in addition to the book. And again, that offer is only designed to give him enough revenue to break even on the advertising, right? So let's say, okay, I don't want that offer. I just want to kind of go on to see what else he's got. He actually then offers people a free trial of ClickFunnels, right? So you opt into ClickFunnels, and then what are you going to see? You're going to see another 3 offers, right? Low ticket, small ticket. But again, the idea is that he's trying to pay for advertising. And because what is his entire strategy, and he got this from Dan Kennedy, so it's not new to him, and it's actually being done by a number of people. I've seen it done by Ryan Levesque, who wrote Ask. I've seen it done by Ryan Dice. I'm seeing it done by Frank Kern. The whole idea is to break even on the advertising cost to get somebody who is a buyer onto their list of the products and services that you know they want. And so you can actually do that in any niche, right? And so people are actually doing that in other niches. For example, and I have it here in my notes, there are people who are doing memberships in gun memberships, right? And I'm not, whether or not you like guns or you don't like guns, I'm not talking about that right now, but here's what they're giving away. So instead of giving away a book that they would give away to an internet marketer, they're giving away gun targets, right? So in other words, here are 5 gun targets. You can get them absolutely free, just pay the shipping. And so the idea is to give somebody something that's so cool at a low cost that they then want to give their buying information, right? And then they're trying to break even along the way on the ad cost. So there's a guy, his name is Perry Belcher. I guess he's moved on off the internet, but he's now in a business that's selling suits. So his giveaway are cufflinks. So the bait is the cufflinks to attract the kind of people who are going to buy suits, right? So they give away the cufflinks. And what they're trying to do along the way, of course, is break even on the advertising, and then to get you into their marketing funnel to sell you suits, right? So, and then there's another one here, and I can't read my notes here, but okay. So this is actually being done in the survivalist niche. And you might have even seen this. Ryan Dice talks about this example a lot, where the bait that's being offered is a camping, kind of a multi-purpose knife. And they're giving that knife away because it's bait for the kind of person who would be a survivalist, so that they can get them into a marketing funnel and eventually offer them membership into their survivalist prepper membership site. So again, if you understand the concept, right, you can apply the concept in any niche. And what you have to do is, of course, you have to understand the people that you want enough to offer them the bait that makes them say, hey, that's such a great offer, I have to get it. Right. So does that make sense, everybody? So do you understand kind of the logic of that? So that's really what's going on with the .com secrets book. And again, you're seeing this being done by a number of people. And the offer is called, and you'll see this, right? And you'll probably see a lot of marketers who are going to be talking about this. It's called a tripwire, right? It's called tripwire. So in other words, you bring people in by giving them something that, they would normally pay for, right? Or in something that's even got value on the real market, so that, again, you attract them onto the market, to your marketing funnel, and then you break even on your advertising costs over time. Right. So does that make sense, guys? Is everybody with me on that? If you have any questions about that, please let me know. And that's sort of one of the things that I want to kind of talk to you about. But let's see. David says, I bought a membership and was sent some brownies. Yes, exactly, David. Somebody talked about that there was, and actually the guy who did this, right? And I don't know if this was the guy who sent you the offers. He talked about the fact that he was emailing brownies, right? Exactly. And so as David says, I want you guys to kind of check out what David is saying here in the chat. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I'm going to kind of read to you what David is saying, just for you who are watching on YouTube and maybe you don't see what he's saying. David's comment is, I bought a membership and was then sent some brownies as an unannounced bonus. It certainly made an impact when it arrived. There's no doubt that I would be a repeat customer provided that they have an offer I wanted. A great gesture, though I think it might be a bit loose regarding marketing. That's what David says. Now, here's the thing. Apparently, one of the theories that was floated around here at the conference is that if you can actually get somebody to consume something physically, right, that, again, it's weird, I don't know, and there's some science on this, that if I can get you to physically touch something and consume it and use it, right, that's why it doesn't work as well if I send you a free report. But if I can get you something physical that you're going to have and consume, that you are less likely to leave my marketing funnel, right? And so that's why the whole vibe is really kind of is kind of going in that way, and probably some of the more savvy marketers are doing that. And of course, I'm letting you know so that you can be a savvy marketer too. If you can self-publish a book, we all can. You can deliver the book or fulfill you can fulfill it through a site called disc.com. We've talked about Kunaki. We've talked about Vervanti. All these are places where you can actually have that fulfilled, where your customer actually physically consumes something, physically gets involved with something, that they're more tied to you than if you just sent them something digital. So again, don't feel locked into, just online, because again, and I've been talking about some of this too in some of my emails, that if you can figure out that hybrid between the online and offline world, right, so that you're using both together to market to people, I think that this is probably going to matter over time in terms of getting people to stay with you, rather than kind of being that same sort of cycle of, kind of get people onto your list to buy digital assets. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that you're trying to get customers over time. You might want to consider trying to put something in their hands, right? So it's an interesting that David brought that up, because the guy who actually sends brownies was there there at the conference. Okay, so I'm going to move down to Jerry's comment. He says, I understand what he's doing and I have no problem with the price. He's charging for the book, but he's putting himself at legal risk by claiming the prices for shipping only. There are a number of marketers doing this free plus shipping thing. Sooner or later, the house of cards is going to fall, but it's not. It is not a good strategy to emulate. Ironic that you should mention Perry Belcher, as he got busted by the FTC, convicted of criminal charges. Not a good role model. Yeah, I again, I fully understand that. I don't know that $6.95, if you're not, if it's not, what is that? Media mail. I don't know if they're sending out by media mail or not. And Perry Belcher, I guess, is kind of into suits now, so I don't think he's really doing internet marketing as much. But the idea, though, is that, let's say that you're not necessarily into the shipping charge. Let's say that you charged $5. Let's say you charged for priority shipping. Let's say that that's what you charge, or let's say even that you charged $3 for media mail. The concept, though, is still the same, because the concept is that you want to break even by giving the person other offers along the way. So in other words, on the order page, yeah. So for me, right, I don't whether it's $5, $6, or $7, to me that's incidental. The idea is that you want to spend the advertising cost to get the customer. And so you want to give the customer other opportunities to spend money with you digitally to offset the physical item that you've sent. And the physical item that you've sent ties you more, I guess, psychologically and otherwise to the customer. So yeah, right. So I wouldn't, if I were to do this, I don't think I'd charge $6.95. I mean, the way it used to be done, I think a couple of years back, I guess the guys like Dagan Smith and other people, they were doing this with DVDs. And I guess you and I and people like us, we're not into DVDs anymore. But the concept, though, is that you spend money on advertising to bring people to an irresistible offer. That irresistible offer is something that they want to say yes to. Now they've decided to make that physical. You could very well make it digital, but along with that item that people feel like they have to have, you are also giving them the opportunity to spend money with you at that point of the order. So really for me, that's the concept that I think is a good one to emulate. And if you don't want to emulate the shipping charge, fully understand that, right? And I'm not sure that I would send a book at this point anyway, because one of the things I did want to talk about was, and I mentioned this in my email today, was that, when it comes to writing the actual book, one of the things that was talked about, I'd say probably quite a bit, was that you want to lead with a result. So in other words, wherever you can get the result, right? So if you're going to sell an information product, and it doesn't really matter what your niche is, right? Whatever your niche is, you can actually start whatever niche you have. You want to start by trying to get a result first, and leading with that result, whether or not it's in your headline, whether or not it's in your blog post, or whatever the case is. Leading with the result ultimately is more effective over time in getting people into the marketing funnel, as well as being able to help them in their business or whatever, or their life. I mean, not everybody's going to be into the internet marketing niche per se, but you do want to make sure that you're trying to lead with a result. Let's see, one more thing that I did want to kind of share, and that was let's see, that was okay. So okay, so the idea of the actual funnel, and he has explained this on other webinars, and it's something that I never did really fully understand, is that all the funnels kind of go back to back. So what you're bringing people through, and we've talked about on my webinars, is the summit model, and really almost starting with bringing the expertise of other people right into the initial point at which you introduce somebody to what it is, your content or your products, and kind of bringing their expertise and leveraging this other expertise in bringing people, attracting people into whatever it is you're opting into. And so he talked about a summit, he talked about an interview show, he talked about a podcast. And again, I'm not saying everybody's got to do a podcast, I'm not saying everybody's got to do an interview show, I'm not saying that, but I am saying that where you have the opportunity to get involved and collaborate with other people and leverage their expertise in terms of attracting people into what you're doing, that is something that, again, is being proven to be effective. And even people who I would consider to be ahead of me are actually doing this. And then I wouldn't hesitate in advocating for that, because that's what I've been saying all along. So it is something that you can do also. So let's see. Any other questions? Any other questions? Questions or comments or anything? Appreciate your comment, Jerry and David. Okay. Any other questions? And what I'm going to try to do tonight, and I had intended to do this this weekend, is really kind of, I've probably got this much in terms of my notes. So I really need to kind of distill this before I kind of put it out there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to apply it to what I'm doing, even before I make it readable for somebody else to have. I don't have to leave here till tomorrow morning. And so what I'm going to do tonight is really kind of go through my notes and make sure I understand how it all applies. Okay. But any questions? Any questions on Genius Software? Any questions on PLR? Yeah, Damon, I've seen people do that, and actually, if I were going to do small business marketing, I would actually test that before I tested a DVD. And the reason is, I think there's still people who listen to audio in their car. Even if you were to give people a CD or a DVD, something audio, and I think that people consume audio faster than they would consume video, because for a video means I've got to be there in real time. It means that I've got to sit someplace and watch it. I mean, I shouldn't be watching it while I'm driving. And if I give people the opportunity to put a CD in there to their car, or even an MP3 into their car, I think that I can get them to be likely to consume that information, right? I think I could do that. So yeah, I would say that, especially for small business marketing, I would definitely be sending an audio, at least test it, right? I would just test it to see if it gets you the results. Now, for us online marketers, maybe and maybe not. It's hit or miss, because it seems as if online marketers like video, right? Even though it's probably less time consuming than, it's probably more time consuming than any other, way to experience media, right? But I would say, yeah, I would definitely test sending audio. Yes. How do you, first of all, I guess, Damon, my question to you would be, who are you selling to, right? So who are your customers? Are your customers other internet marketers? Are your customers other online marketers? And is your market all over the place? So who are your customers and kind of where they are, and then I'll come back to your question. Okay, so David's question is how to connect with potential partners, particularly people getting started like you. Any ideas? Yeah, David, there are a couple of places. Other than live events, I guess the JVZoo conference was last week. I'll tell you how I did it, and that was now I could create videos, and I knew how to do webinars. So I basically, this has been a little while since I did this. I would just kind of offer to do them for people. And so here's what happened. I got the opportunity to train other people, right? So multi-level marketers would put me on their webinars and let me train their people. Online marketers started letting me on their webinars to train their people. And so then this is how I just kind of started meeting other marketers. That was one place. The other place where I met other marketers was the Warrior Forum, David. And so the Warrior Forum was actually a place where I could actually see, on an online marketing forum, you kind of see where people's thought processes were. So I could kind of get a sense for, hey, I like this guy. Hey, I don't like this guy. And there were a couple of partnerships that ended up being from the Warrior Forum specifically. So from the Warrior Forum, I met a guy that I ended up doing a membership for about a year and a half with, right? We ran a membership together, and that relationship I found. Now, I can't give you a specific how-to as to how I approached them, but I know I met that person on the Warrior Forum, and it was a person who was launching a Warrior special offer on the Warrior Forum. Now, at that time, though, JVZoo was not present. So there are people on JVZoo who are launching products that, for whatever it's worth, may or may not have the power to do what they really want to do. And they might be open to a partnership depending on what your skills are. I mean, if you can bring skill to a product, if you can bring management to a product, if you can bring money to a product, these are all things that other marketers would love a partnership for. So one of the other things that I would recommend is that you get somebody who's already in motion, right? And people who are already in motion, they're launching products on JVZoo, right? So and now a lot of people already have partners on JVZoo, but you might be able to find somebody who's already in motion who needs a partner. The Warrior Forum, right? They're launching products in the WSO forum. They're already in motion. The Warrior Plus, right? These people are already in motion. They're already launching products. You want to find somebody who might want to partner there. Now, if you're just looking for somebody who's just getting started, I would say that the place to find those people are on the Warrior Forum. You get a profile on the Warrior Forum. You start answering questions, letting yourself be seen, and then you actually also, can see the posting of others. Now, I've heard that Facebook is the same thing inside of some of the groups. I have not found that to be the case. And what I have found about Facebook personally, right, and it could just be because I'm not, it could just be I'm biased, but I have not found necessarily people who are willing to partner. Most people who are on Facebook are advertising, right? Whether or not they're using paid advertising or not. And so I have not found that an effective place to find a partner, right? So, but again, social media is another place where you're going to be able to find people who you can look at them and tell they're already into marketing. You'll also be able to tell sort of what they're like, and you might be able to tell, okay, well, this is the kind of person that I would like to approach. This is the kind of person that I want to work with. And so maybe what you could do now that wasn't available at the time when I was doing it is you can take a look at their social media profile. So in other words, you can combine what you learned on social media with any of those three places: JVZoo, Warrior Plus, or Warrior Forum. Right. So that's how I think I would answer that question, David. I know those people are out there, and I know you can find those people. But the way that I found them was participating on the Warrior Forum. Right. Okay. So Dennis is asking, what's the best way to use to get Webinar Fusion Pro down, Pat? Doing webinars. I think, and I have said this on a lot of my webinars, that you should be doing webinars once a week. And I don't care if nobody attends. I don't care if it's you and your mom and your dog, right? You should be doing a webinar every single week. And that's how you really master it. Webinars are funny things. They're not hard to do. But there are a lot of little things that you just kind of get used to that you don't even realize that you're doing right or wrong until somebody tells you, hey, did you know that you were doing this on the webinar? You probably have no idea. And so you don't learn those things really until you just start doing them. And so what I would highly, 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 highly recommend that if you have a webinar system and you were on this call, that you just start doing webinars on something that you know, right? Get a subject that you know about, and then start teaching, right? Start teaching people, somebody, what you know. Create a webinar, make it known on all your social media, make it known on Facebook, make it known on LinkedIn, make it known even on YouTube if you can, make it known on Google Plus, make it known on Twitter and all those places, Snapchat, all those places. And then once you start doing that, I mean, you might find it, well, nobody came to my webinar. Well, with Webinar Fusion Pro, that webinar is now going to be on YouTube. It's going to be a YouTube channel, and it's going to actually now be on the internet. And if you go back and you actually try to optimize that webinar, what you're going to find out is that, there are going to be people who are going to watch it. Right. And no, you might not have, a gazillion views, but that's not important. The way to master webinars, right? The only way to master webinars is to do them and 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 do them. Now, I don't consider myself to be an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I have been talking to a computer screen since 2003. And that really came from, again, looking at a computer screen and talking to it as if it were a human being. Okay. And that really is the only way that you will be able to get Webinar Fusion Pro, is to do webinars, right? That's a great question. It's a great, great question. And I'd say that when you get off this webinar, I'd say create a webinar, and then make yourself available, put it on social media, teach on something that you know, right? Great question. And okay, so Damon, your market is online marketers, and so you want to know. I say that if you want to send a free audio, test it. Online marketers don't necessarily find value in audio, right? They sort of do. Now, if you're talking about giving them resale rights to it, I think they do. But in general, to get something on audio, yeah, there's only one marketer that I know gets away with that, right? There's only one. And you'd have to almost emulate his business model in order to do it. I do know his name is Sean Mize. He gets away with that, right? I don't know how Sean Mize gets away with it, but he does. And see, it's getting kind of dark. I'm gonna turn this light on. How do you turn this blessed thing on? Okay, there we go. Yeah, so with online marketers, I don't know that they find value in audio, right? So what I would say that is if you, it's again same as an online market, you have to test it, right? So here's how you test it. You want to set up one list, right? You want to set up a specific list, and then even when you mail to that list, you need to be tracking what these people do. When do people start buying? What do they buy? So it's the kind of person that you attract through that audio going to be the kind of person that you ultimately want to sell to, right? And are they taking action? So ultimately, I think it takes the same amount of effort to create a video as it does an audio. So if I were going to offer an audio, I would offer the video too, right? So I would offer video and audio. Right? Okay, does that help you, Damon? Any other questions? These are great questions. I appreciate your questions here. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, appreciate you also. And for those of you who are watching this by archive, it's good to be back in my seat. I didn't want to wait till I got back at home, obviously. On Tuesday, I'm going to be back in my chair, and we're going to get back to the PLR show. And again, I had been doing a traffic training on Thursday. I think what we probably need to definitely start talking about is free traffic, or no, is paid traffic. And so I'm going to be talking about that as time goes on. Any other questions? Any other questions? Now today, for those of you who are still, if you haven't picked up the my 30-day challenge product, this particular one is probably, I guess, if you're trying to figure out your foundation, right? You're trying to figure out, how do I get a foundation? It's superfastactionbonus.com/30-day. And then today, I think it's for the next few hours, if you use the code right on, all one word, it's 80% off and $80 off. So that's the 30-day challenge. Thank you. Thank you, Angela. Although when I get back to Harrisburg tomorrow, I'm not going to be working so hard. I'm going to be kind of kicking back a little bit. It's been a working conference. So this has not been a conference where you just kind of soak in all of the sun. I mean, for all of what it's worth, I haven't seen San Diego. So it's not like, this is a big, this is one, and the sessions last night, just to give you an idea, the sessions last night yesterday started at 9, and the session last night, it's not working, Bernie. Okay, the sessions last night started at 9 and ended at midnight. So that's when I left. And a friend of mine left at 1 a.m. So this has not been, one of these conferences where, you just kind of You know, and everybody's just kind of coming to. I don't drink, but you know, you have conferences where, you know, it's supposed to be all about the, you know, somebody comes and everybody's going to have a beer. That's not what this was. This was a working conference. So okay, so yeah, so I think it's working right there now, Bernie, and then the code there is right on, all one word. And but yeah, so any other questions? Any other questions that anybody might have? Any other questions? I'm happy to take your questions. I don't have anything else to do. I'm not in Harrisburg, so I'm not taking the time away from Mrs. Harper right now, so I can take your questions. You know, anything else that you're trying to do, and anything that you're trying to figure out. Now, I'm going to kind of end on this. This idea of creating funnels, and it is one of the things that you're going to find, and I really do want to, whenever you get a result, and this is something that was discussed at the conference. I don't think I've said this, but I know that I've wanted to say this, is anytime you're getting a result, start letting people know what you do, right? And again, I know you think nobody understands online marketing. Nobody understands why I'm on these webinars. Nobody understands. And that is until you start telling people. So instead of talking about, I don't know what people talk about. I guess today everybody's talking about politics. Stop talking about that stuff. You start talking about some of the stuff you're learning. Start telling people how they can get their book published, right? When they start talking about how they can get their message out, if they're in a nonprofit and they're begging for money, right? Start telling them how to sell information products. If you know people and they're broke, they can't find a job, start telling them about affiliate marketing. Start telling people what you know offline. Right? I cannot encourage you enough. And I've seen the result of that. And that was really discussed here at the conference. You've really got to start telling people, number one, the results you're getting, tell everybody. Number two, the stuff you know, start telling everybody, because you have no idea how valuable what you know is, right? The stuff you know, you have no idea how valuable it is. Okay, so I'm off my soapbox about that. Okay, are there any marketing options beside Facebook? Okay, great question. Now, Angela, are you talking about other paid marketing options? Yeah, let me know if you're talking about paid marketing options, number one. Number two, my other question to you is this. Who do you want to sell to, right? So do you want to sell to other online marketers? Do you have a different niche? Okay, so and then my initial question was, are you just talking about paid advertising? Or are you just talking about in general, right? So great question. So while Angela types that in, any other questions? Okay, so Angela is saying paid or free. Okay, yeah, and there are a couple of things to this, Angela. Number one, people spend a lot of time on Facebook, and so the reason that you want to spend your time on Facebook, or you want to spend some effort to try to reach people on Facebook, is because people spend an enormous amount of time there. And so the thing is, as of right now, right, Facebook itself is trying to structure things so that if you want to reach your customer on Facebook, that you need to pay, right? So it's their website, it's their platform. So there's nothing that you and I can do about it. Now, it used to be a time when you could advertise on Facebook, you could have your fan page, you could build a community, and you could pretty much do that and do a good job of it and get a lot of customers without having to use paid advertising. It's kind of hard to do that now, right? Kind of hard to do that. So I would say that if you're going to be on Facebook and you are going to master a system, right? Master a system. And here's what is important about Facebook advertising. You got to understand this. And I have not always understood this. I understand this now, is that you will come to the point where you are making money on the internet, right? You probably already there. You're probably already making money. Here's the problem with making money on the internet. It's so addictive that you will spend all your time doing it. And so if you have to be the one to generate all your income online, I don't care what the niche is. I don't care what the niche is. If you are responsible for generating all of the leads, right, and it comes from all your activity, right, it comes from the stuff you do, that means you can't ever take a vacation. That means that I don't care how much money you make, if it depends on your effort every day, you can't take a break. That's not scalable. And that's the thing. So if you're going to learn Facebook marketing, it makes sense to learn advertising so that even if you're spending a little, you get enough back to at least break even. And once you figure out how to break even with your advertising, then it's really a matter of adjusting things so that you start making a little more. Because if I can spend $1 and make $2 back, right, with that money, then all I have to do is just increasing the number of dollars that I spend, because eventually I'm going to make what I want to make, because that's scalable. Because it doesn't depend on my effort. It depends on what I can spend, right? When you get it to the point where it depends on what you can spend, that's scalable. And it's a hard thing for us to understand, because you think that I got to learn how to do it. But that, if you have to be the person responsible for all the income, it's not scalable, right? So I would say that today, if you're going to learn, yes, you got to learn how to do Facebooking and tweeting and all those things, but you have to also learn how to scale. So Facebook advertising is effective. Now, that being said, your question was, are there any other alternatives? I think that today video is huge, right? Video, being able to get on YouTube or some kind of video, live video, right? And I don't know how effective live video is. I do know that some of the best salesmen on the internet are doing it. A guy named Grant Cardone, Joel Comm, they're all doing live video. They're all doing Periscope. They're all doing, what is it? Facebook Live. And so I cannot speak to that, how effective it is, because I have not done it. I do know that a lot of really smart people are doing it. I've never watched it though. And so that's why I'm reserved about that, but that is an alternative. So I said Facebook video, there's also LinkedIn, depending on where your customer is. LinkedIn could be where some of your customers are. I mentioned today the Warrior Forum and online marketing forums. Huge, absolutely huge, especially if you're looking for newbies. The Warrior Forum, and again, you got to kind of figure out how to get involved with the forum. You just can't be getting in there and asking people to buy stuff. When you get involved with a forum, you got to kind of become part of the vibe, and you got to be in there helping people, and you have to kind of be seen as the kind of person that people want to buy from. But that's not hard to do, and it's free. Right, so online forums can be done. That's another way. Somebody mentioned Google AdWords. That's another alternative. And then I always say this, and I always say, offline is the undiscovered frontier. Nobody's talking about it because nobody's doing it. Now, it was discussed here at this conference. And I think that there are people who want to make money on the internet who are in your local area. I believe that. And when you figure out how to get a venue and how to figure out how to tell people how to get there on a regular basis, I think they'll come. So those are some alternatives. The other thing I would say that a lot of people are doing is they're doing podcasting. They're doing blogging. Those things are kind of based on people finding you in the search engines, but even if you did blogging and stuff like that and podcasts, you still have to go out there and promote the blog, right? So it's kind of one step removed, but you are getting traffic that way, right? So does that help, Angela? I hope so. Is Google AdWords good for marketing? It depends on what you're marketing, Damon. It is. It's expensive. Here's the difference between Google AdWords and Facebook advertising. Google AdWords costs more money, but you tend to get higher conversions and better targeting. Facebook advertising, you can actually target, but and it's going to be lower than Google AdWords, but you're not going to get as higher conversions because people are not on. How many of you are on Facebook and you're looking for marketing stuff? Probably not many of you. Most of us are on Facebook. We're looking for, I don't know, we're looking to blow some time off. And because of that, when you actually do get somebody, they may not be as serious of a prospect as you might find in on Google AdWords when you get somebody in your marketing funnel because of that. Okay, great question, Damon. Appreciate that. Any other questions? These are great questions. I appreciate it. Any questions? Well, everybody, it's about, I guess we've gone about, what have we gone about? 56 minutes, right? 56 minutes. I know it's a little late, but on Tuesday, we will be doing the PLR show again. And next week, I'll be releasing my next PLR product, so be on the lookout for it. Okay, and again, for those of you who do not have, you never did really get your foundation, kind of like where do I start with this online marketing? You have no idea where to start. You have no idea sort of the whole context. How do I make sense out of all this? One of the things I did last year, I did 30 days of webinars about getting you started. And you can find that at superfastactionbonus.com/30-day. There's a bonus there. And if you use the coupon right on today, it's $80 off, $80 and 80%. Okay, so yeah, so Rodney says, yeah, Craigslist can be pretty targeted if you're going to do, especially if you're going to do it in your local area, right? I have seen people do that, and a lot of people who are doing business opportunities do that, right? And people who do CPA offers do that. So Craigslist is a viable option. That's correct. WSO ideas. I actually did. I did something a little while back called, I think it's called Niche Business Jumpstart. I think I did something called Niche Business Jumpstart. And I don't know what the URL is, but that really was about how to create your own WSO. I gave you, it's a PLR product, and talked about that. I don't even know what the URL is for that. And I will be doing something coming up. Let's see, Niche Business Jumpstart. Now, where is that? Yeah, okay, here it is. Yeah, that was really about doing a WSO, Niche Business Jumpstart, and I think there are private label rights to that product, and so you can actually use the product to kind of reformulate it into your own product, or but it talks about getting started doing WSOs. So yeah, if you've got a WSO idea, I would say go for it. You know, one of the things I talk about in the 30-day challenge is um, is building a product snowball. So in other words, you start by creating a product. You literally you know, as you create, let's say that you only get 5 buyers, right? You do your first WSO, you only get 5 buyers. Well, that's fine, right? Because the product game on the Warrior Forum is you're really trying to get real information, trying to get real data, try to find out what people want, and you want to create the next product. And what's going to happen is 2 or 3 of those buyers are probably going to get your other product because they liked your first one, right? And then what you're doing is you are creating products to build a snowball. What's going to happen is you are going to reach, it may be 6 months, maybe 7 months. If you kind of continue to create products that you know people want, you will then have a mass of products. One person is going to come through your marketing funnel and they're going to buy more than one, right? Then another person is going to come through your marketing funnel, they're going to buy 2 or 3. And so when you snowball, right, you continue to create the products until you have a critical mass. You start attracting affiliates. When affiliates bring you traffic, here's what you do. You give away, right? You start giving away your affiliate commission. But when you get a buyer to come to your marketing funnel, you've got all these products that are already created. They like the one that the affiliate brought to you, then they're probably going to buy more than that. And so when you do WSOs, if you're prepared to get into the product creation game, this is why, you know, for those of you, you buy PLR, this is what you use PLR for. You get the PLR, you reformulate it, you remake it into your own product, and you continue to produce them, right? So WSO is a great way of being able to, create momentum. And if you're willing to kind of get in there and just go to the first one, to the next one, and the next one, and you don't have to have big numbers to start with, what you're really trying to do is to build a snowball. Dennis is asking Craigslist for local. Yes, I've seen Craigslist being used for local marketing. I've also seen Craigslist being used for local people in your local area to buy internet marketing products, right? I've seen it. Now, again, you're going to have to kind of get to know how that's going to work, right? Craigslist has its own set of rules, but once you figure that out, there are people in your local area that are going to be willing. First of all, they'll come to a seminar you do, right? I'm proof positive they'll come to a seminar you do. They'll also they'll come to buy your products when you make them available. And I guess I'm not going to talk a lot about it tonight. There are some other advantages to doing offline, even if you decide you're going to teach brick and mortar businesses, right? Online marketing, right? I think there's a market there for that. Okay, everybody. Well, once again, I think we're tipping the scales here at about an hour, and it's good to be back with everybody. And like I said, again, I will be back with you on Tuesday in Harrisburg, and look forward to talking to you then. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to send them to me. I will be covering something else in PLR on Tuesday. Okay, so again, I'm going to put that URL in there. You're looking to do a WSO. There's Niche Business Jumpstart. And then for those of you who are looking to just try to figure out what this whole internet marketing game is all about, and you're trying to get the context. Again, I did put that together. It's superfastactionbonus.com/30-day, and then if you just put in the code, put in the code right on, all one word. Everybody, well, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night, and a pleasant tomorrow. And I will see you on Tuesday. Take care.